I'm GFWilliams and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be taking this car apart to an extent that I never have before. The aim is to take off the front and rear clam, and first of all, which is quite challenging on its own, is to get the car lifted in the air on axle stands safely. So with a normal car you'd just jack it up and put an axle stand underneath. With this one I have to do quite a lot more than that. I have to get the under trays off to get the axle stands in the correct place, which is on the subframe, and in order to even get that far I have to drive the car onto race ramps and then get jacks underneath. Because my garage isn't massive, I've actually measured the distance from there to the wall on each side to try and make it so that I have even space on either side. To be totally honest, there's going to be loads of challenges and I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I like a project and this is a proper project. So let's get going.
So as you can sort of see, although the race ramp is a lot less narrow than the tyre, it is sitting up. It's only 7 centimetres, it's not much, but it allows me to get underneath the car and do what I need to do.
So didn't strictly need to take this off first, but it's going to have to come off anyway, so I thought I'd get it off. Obviously it is quite dirty. That will be fully cleaned. I might even paint it, I'm unsure, we'll see. Yeah, next bit we come underneath is that middle under tray there. So that's a little bit more challenging to get to all the bolts, but it's not rocket science, we'll get on with it. There is the under tray. It's not looking too bad. A bit of dirt around there, but not too bad. This here is our subframe, and there's a few points we can both jack and put axle stands on. So that is the easiest place to jack the car up from. To jack the front of the car up, I used 2 jacks, alternating between them until I could get the right height to get the axle stands in safely. Good morning, it's day 2 already. Admittedly I didn't spend the full day yesterday, but today we're hoping to actually get the clams off. Yesterday was just in preparation. First things first, boot lid needs to come off, wing needs to come off. The wing's going into storage, so I'll wrap that all up and protect it in bubble wrap. Yeah, I've got my friend Si coming a bit later to help me, because apparently it's a 2-man job to get the clams off, so we will see. That is horrible. That's why you don't use a cheap bolt. Like quite a nice step forward. The boot lid is off. I also took the battery out to be safe, plus I'm not going to need to start the car for a very long time now. Some of you may be wondering how I actually have a clue what I'm doing. Well, what I've got here is what's called the Lotus Exige V6 service notes, and basically, if you can see this, it has all the bolt positions for the front clam and then instructions of how to do everything. So I'm not going into this totally blind. I've done my research. Yeah, so next up, I'm reading through how to do the front clam. So Si has arrived in his TVR and he's got stuck straight in, and he's taking parts of my car apart. We've got the wheel arch liners out, tools everywhere already. Consulting instructions, we're going with the rear clam it seems. I'm about to take the boot carpet out, and hopefully that means we can get to a load of the bolts. There is a battery tray in there somewhere which I need to take the bolts off, and hopefully that then means we can get to some clam bolts. I think the most challenging part of this whole thing is going to be feeding those wires through the grommets in the clam to get them to the other side. We basically just went round the clam lots and removed loads and loads of bolts and trim. Onto the interior, and frustratingly we had to take both seats out plus all the stuff behind the seats in order to get to 2 bolts that hold the top of the rear clam on. Luckily I'd taken the seats out before, so it was relatively easy. Si had the task of taking out the stuff behind the seats though, which is a little bit less fun. Little update time. So we've been working in the boot, we've released the bolts from the clam there. I've got the electronics loose, but we're going to have to work that out because that looks like a pretty horrible job. Then underneath, Si has taken off the grills and the diffuser trim. We actually had to drill out some rivets, as you can see, but it gives us a nice view of everything. And here, unfortunately, there was a little hairline crack. This clam is actually sold and being replaced. That is very much, we could repair it, but I chose not to. I thought it'd be nicer just to get a new one. And of course, it's going to be the facelift as well, isn't it? So yeah, next thing I guess is goodbye Hell Slow for now. All the stuff in the boot. This wiring is horrible, but we are labelling as we go. So I've just removed all the stuff for the boot release, and there was also a rear brake light in there. I'm dreading putting this back together. So this is when you could do with a double garage with one side empty instead of having to put things all over your front drive and into your garden. We have car parts everywhere. Got to quite a momentous stage. All the bolts are removed, so there is some movement. It is surprisingly heavy, this rear clam, I guess because it's got the whole boot attached to it, but between us we're going to try and get it off. The clam is off. We have an engine. Oh wow. So that's the end of this video. The rear clam is off. I'm going to do a separate video for the front, which we're about to start. We'll see how that goes in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, the usual. See you guys soon. Thank you.